Hey y'all, so we're going to be back at the mill today. I was in the process of burning and treating the exterior wall, the sheathing for the root cellar. And in doing so, I noticed that a lot of them were not quite up to snuff, being that they weren't quite 1 inch in thickness. So my plans was to use 1 by different widths, whatever I can get out of them, but 1 by in thickness, to make my wall sheathing for the root cellar. So I was going to have my posts with bands, like a wooden fence. You put your stringers or your bands, and then you put your fence boards on there. Well, that's how I was going to make this root cellar wall. I was going to put my post and my bands up, and then come back with my wall sheathing, butt them up tight, and I was going to make at least 2 and probably 3 rows or thicknesses or layers of this 1 inch wall sheathing. So at the end of the day, it'll be about 3 inches thick, and overlapping the seams on it. So that way, it's helps with it being watertight. On the note of being watertight, I was burning them. I was going to burn and oil them to keep them, because they're going to be in ground contact. Well, a lot of the boards started to cup, and I was having a difficult time with the fire, keeping the fire going, burning the boards. I was getting aggravated with the whole process, and I think I was just having to come to the realization that this may not be the best thing to do. So I think what I'm going to do for the wall sheathing is, because that's going to be a lot of 1 bys to burn if I do that many layers of them. And I think what I'm going to do is just get some waterproof membrane, whether it be plastic sheeting, or they sell all different kind of waterproof sheeting, and then just envelop all of that, and I will feel better about that too. One thing I've noticed with the rain we've been getting, we had a very dry summer last year. We were in a pretty good drought. This spring, and I keep looking over at the cabin site as I'm talking. During the spring, we had this spring has been very, very wet. A lot of rain, a lot of good rain. We've needed it very badly. But with that being said, I've noticed with the root cellar that there's a lot of inflow of water coming in from the ground. So just groundwater seeping into it. Which, with it being that hard clay, I wasn't taking that into consideration when I dug it as much. I mean, I knew it was dirt, there would be some moisture. But the amount of water, it's a pretty good bit. So I'm gonna put just a waterproof membrane around the walls, between the wall sheathing and the dirt. I'm going to put some drainage in the floor, probably just some couple of 2-inch pipes with some little drain stub outs, so that way, and then fill the bottom with sand, pea gravel, and I think probably some pavers, some concrete pavers, and then put the gravel mix between it with the drains, so that way if water does come into the floor in there, it'll help drain it out. I don't want to hold moisture. I do want it to stay cool Air will be coming in. I'm gonna do an air intake into the root cellar, so I will be getting air coming in. My outtake or my outlet is going to be in the house. The root part of the root cellar is a place to store vegetables and whatnot, but also too, it's going to be I guess the heart of the geothermal cooling that I'm trying to do with this cabin. So with it being in the ground, and it's going to have piping run into it from the outside, so it's going to draw air from outside, go into the root cellar, and then there'll be a vent going into the house, so the cool air from the root cellar will go into the house. There will be an exhaust at the top of the cabin where hot air will come out, and I am hoping that there will be enough air going, hot air moving up and going out, that will draw the cool air from the basement or root cellar from outside into the house. So I'm hoping that will help cool things down in the summertime. That's the game plan. So it's quite an adventurous build for someone just starting doing something like this. But hey, I'm learning as I go, and it's just something that I really wanted to try to do. So anyhow, I won't keep rambling. Long story short, I'm back at the sawmill. I'm going to mill out some true 1-bys, some of these logs. Another thing I've learned is not cut your logs that you're going to mill. Don't cut them in the middle of summer because they are full of sap. And I think that aids, first of all, it takes them a long time to dry out. They're a lot heavier. And secondly, I think that it causes them to, they're more prone to getting mildew on them because of the moisture content in them. So one of the things that I was looking at, the saying is to cut your lumber or cut your trees in January and mill your lumber in April. So that's what I was spent January cutting a pretty good bit of trees down. For one, I needed to make garden space, and secondly, I needed to, for building material. So I think that's going to be my new methodology, is to try to do as much cutting as I can in, say, December through February, and then do my milling in spring and using the lumber to build throughout the rest of the year. I don't know if I've cut enough, but I know I've cut enough to get started and get a lot done. So I'm sure I've cut enough to where I can mill and it will keep me busy until next winter when I have to cut some more. So like I said, a lot of this is a learning process, how to build it, what to build it out of, when to cut it, when to mill it, how to store it, trying to be efficient at this whole thing. And I've had to make changes and plan, do, and adjust. I think I'm going to make a change to my drying rack. I might make a couple of drying racks, one for 1-bys, one for 2-bys or 4-bys, post, that kind of thing. Because just having one rack, then I'm having to move and shuffle things around when I need to get something. That's another thing that's gotten to be kind of an issue. So yeah, Well, we're getting there. So today we're milling. It kind of hurts me to cut a 12-foot, this was a little over 12-foot log in half, but I mean that's what we're doing, is making lumber to use, right? So, but anyhow, so the root cellar walls, the 1-bys are going to be 6 foot. It's 6 foot from the base plate to the top stringer, and so that'll make it 6 foot tall if I stop it right there, which I'm not 6 foot tall, so that's not a problem for me, and I think that's about where, you know, makes sense to keep it as compact an area, not make it too big or too tall. So about 6 foot. It may be a little over 6 foot, depending on how I finish it out. But yeah, so I'm cutting these instead of milling them 12 foot and then cutting every individual board. I just took my saw, cut it in half. That's why I made 2 6-foot marks and then just split the difference. So it's 6.5 foot, 6'4", or something like that. So anyhow, I'm going to do this other log over here the same way, and we'll see how many 1-by boards we can get out of it.